Okay, my name is Andy Morales. I'm with my brother Javier Morales and the Rincon-University coach Mike Strack. We're at Wings Over Broadway for our weekly high school sports show. And again, Rincon now you're 2-1. And if the last name sounds familiar, Mike Strack, if you're a longtime Tucson resident, you know his grandfather Dave Strack, University of Arizona athletic director, hired Fred Snowden, Jim Young, legend in the Tucson area. So quickly go over your background. You played football at Centennial, and then run through your football history.
Yeah, I graduated from Centennial High School in 1999. Ended up playing small college football back in Kansas, where I was living for 16, 17 years. Started teaching and coaching immediately following college. But as you mentioned, my grandfather being here, spent a lot of time at U of A football and basketball games. So even though I grew up in Phoenix, this sort of felt like an opportunity to come home. Spent a lot of time growing up in Tucson. My mom was a Tucson native as well, so we were excited to get back to the Tucson area and have an opportunity to coach at Rincon-University and work hard to slowly make that program a little bit better, which I think we're in the process of doing.
Your coaching background, you go back to Kansas, right? How did that come about? You coached at Lincoln, Kansas, I believe, for like 3 or 4 years. Then you were an assistant coach. Can you talk about how you got into coaching in the Kansas area?
My first head coaching job was in Lincoln, Kansas, which probably a lot of people have never heard of. It's a tiny high school. I spent 4 years as a head coach there. Knew I wanted to eventually have the challenge of coaching a bigger program, and had an opportunity to move in as an assistant coach to a school in the Kansas City area, a much bigger high school. Spent 6 years there with a really, really good program. Had an opportunity to learn from a really good head coach, as well as really good assistants in that program. And so I think those last 2 experiences have really helped prepare me for being a head coach and taking on a program at a school like Rincon-University, a school of 2,300 kids, competing against similar-sized schools. Even though I'm new to Arizona high school coaching, I think my background in Kansas has prepared me for the rigors of trying to build a program here.
So you're 2-1, and you're going to obviously go up against Cienega, who just lost to your alma mater, Centennial. But you're telling me Centennial wasn't the big powerhouse when you were there. But can you tell me about how you feel about your alma mater and how big they are nationally?
I played for Coach Taylor. He's been the only head coach at Centennial. I believe he's in his 24th or 25th year. I could be off on the numbers. Very impressed with what they've done over the last 15 years or so. Obviously watched them on film against a very good Cienega team. And Centennial is just talent all over the field. They are very well coached. And you can see, it's one thing to have tremendous talent, but it does take a really good coach to get that talent to play the way they do on the field. So very, very impressed and proud of my alma mater. And Coach Taylor is someone I consider a mentor and someone I try to emulate as a coach. When I'm coaching the young men, I have the opportunity to coach.
Given the fact that Centennial played Cienega last week, and you obviously know Coach Taylor pretty well, is it something you guys talk about, like any kind of advice or inside information on Cienega that he gives you?
I haven't communicated with them this year. This year we've really tried to be focused on ourselves. Obviously, we watch Cienega. We prepare for what we believe they're going to do. But I've really tried to be focused on our players. I do have contact with Coach Taylor. He's still someone I lean on more for like philosophical coaching advice. He's been doing it for so long, and he's so good at it. There's not an issue in coaching that Coach Taylor hasn't seen. So I haven't leaned on him for any tactical advice going into Cienega. I think our coaches have put together a good plan. We know we're playing a very, very good team. But we're still just focused on ourselves and just trying to get better each day and each week.
Tell me a little bit about some of your players. Preston's, I believe, is in the top 10 for the big schools in running, and Isaac is one of the leaders in sacks. Can you tell the listeners more about the individual standouts? You're the coach. Obviously, there's linemen that we don't see and things like that. Who do you think the leaders of your team are?
We have a number of players I'm very proud of, and more proud of how they've matured as people and players within our program. You know, when I came out 2 springs ago to try to run a spring practice, I flew out from Kansas City and tried to spend time with the players. You know, we had 13 kids show up for spring practice, and one of the biggest things, and we have approximately 85 now in our program, and I think it's a credit to some of the kids you just named, not only because they've worked hard to become good football players, but they're good people. And to attract more people into your program, you got to have good people to bring them in. As players, Preston, you mentioned, extremely hard worker. He's almost more of a football player playing quarterback. He's still learning the position. Tremendously strong runner. He's still learning how to be a thrower. And he has the ability to throw really well, but it's the mental aspect of it. Isak, who you mentioned, plays both ways for us. Does a tremendous job in almost every aspect of the game. There's been a couple really good linemen. Diego Montoya, junior for us, unfortunately won't be playing tomorrow, out with possible concussion, which is a part of football now. It's just a part of, as a team, you have to deal with. Another lineman, Trevor Watkins, a 2-way lineman for us. A kid who didn't play as much last year, has really stepped up in the classroom to make sure he's on the field, which I'm very proud of, but also showing that he's a really, really good player. We have another young man here, Damon Taylor, who's really worked hard. He's a kid that I put up as an example. If you dedicate yourself in the weight room to making yourself a better athlete, it shows up on the field. He's making plays that a year ago he probably struggled to make as a linebacker in our program, and now he's really coming through and making really good plays for us. But there's a number of other guys. The improvement from last year to this year, I've been really, really proud of.
What's been, if you could pinpoint, you guys haven't been 2-1. This is the best start since 2012. Can you pinpoint the turnaround or the beginning of a turnaround, why it's gone this way so far?
We just have a good core of kids. Once last season ended, we really tried to embrace the idea that we need to embrace every little improvement we can make, because when you go 1-9, there's 1,000 things that you want to get better at, but it's not going to happen immediately. And I think our kids have embraced that, and I'm really proud of that. We have a good core of kids really working hard in our weight room. We run at 0 hours, so we're lifting every day at 7 a.m. That takes dedication and sacrifice on the part of a high school student, because when you ask them to get there every morning at 7 a.m. and then they got classes, we have a number of multiple sport athletes, which we really like, but we're asking them to lift every single day, and our core has been really dedicated to that, and that's probably the biggest thing. Our strength and our conditioning has helped us not only win the 2 of our first 3, but we had a great chance to win against Sunnyside. We weren't able to get through in the end, but it's because we were in better shape at the end of games.
Tell me a little bit about your makeup. Your school, Rincon-University, obviously, it's the pool of very smart kids, and it's still a neighborhood school. So to tell me about coaching at a program like that, where the achievements in the classroom are the demands there are so great, and then coaching football on top of that.
Yeah, it's a very unique dynamic. We have our university high students obviously have chosen to go there, mainly for the high academic expectations and then the opportunities that come with that after high school. As a coach, I think I've learned that one, we always place academics first, and throughout the week we provide about 4 hours of study time within our program where our kids are together, whether it be in the morning or afternoon before we go out to practice. And I think it's good not only for our UHS kids have a heavy workload, but what I really like about it is it sort of meshes both schools and kids from both schools. We emphasize academics. We have high expectations for academics. We've increased our numbers from the UHS side, which was a goal of mine. We're just under 30 kids out of the 85 that I mentioned, so we're not quite half and half. I don't know if we ever will be, but if we can keep those numbers and we're getting really good kids from those schools, that's what I'm most proud of is the quality of people in our program right now.
When you came to Rincon, you obviously knew the fact about it being an academic institution, and it hasn't had a lot of success on the football field. What were your thoughts when you decided to take the job, or what was going through your mind?
Well, it was a lot of personal decisions. My family is still here in the Tucson area, and so we, as a family, my wife and I, we have been talking about making that move for a couple of years, and the opportunity arose, and so we decided to kind of take a leap of faith at that point. As far as I was familiar with their record over the last 6-7 years. I coach high school football for the opportunity to try to develop young men through the sport, and I believe that, and I believe if you're doing that, then the competitive success will follow. I think this year we're starting to see that. We have a long ways to go for sure, but I wasn't deterred by their lack of success. There's plenty of great programs weren't great before they became great, and we're we still understand that there's still a gap between us and some of the upper tier programs in the state. But our concern, like I said, we're just trying to get a little better and really maintain our philosophical focus on developing people through the sport of football.
Yeah, and I coached club softball for 30 years, and I've had kids play at Yale and Harvard, and they tell me the thing that put them over the top was that they played a sport, and they were able to contribute to their school that way. And can you preview a little bit about Cienega? I don't want to get you to give away any any things, but what do you expect to see? I mean, see, they're hurting. They're usually 3-0 at this point. So does that concern you, or are you just prepared for your team, or how do you go about that?
It concerns me a little bit because I don't want. We really don't want to see a bunch of angry Bobcats. They're a very good football team. The two teams they've lost to, we mentioned Centennial. We know their success over the last 12-15 years. Lost to Sunny Slope the week before that. Sunny Slope's a very, very good football team. It would not shock me to see Sunny Slope playing football in late November this year. Sunny Slope has an excellent quarterback. Cienega will far and away be the best team we've played so far, and that's not a knock on any team we've played. That's just respect for Cienega. They're very well coached. I expect them to play extremely physical. Even the scores may not indicate, but physically they went toe-to-toe with Centennial. Centennial had some athletes who were able to make big plays, and those kind of things can extend the score. But physically, Cienega matched up very, very well with them. They're very, very well coached. That's the first thing that jumps out at them is they're very sound, which allows them to play fast. So we have to match that by limiting our mistakes, obviously limiting turnovers, which we've been pretty good at so far this year. Because if you give a good team, you make mistakes, you give them free opportunities, that's when the score can get a little bit out of hand. So that's really our focus, is limiting our mistakes and then just playing as hard as we can.
Just one last thing about Dave Strack being your grandfather, and you came to U of A games, right? Is there anything that sticks out in your memory about coming to the games when he was the AD, or were you too young then?
No. That was kind of my introduction to college football, was University of Arizona games, and I remember I used to be so excited the week. We'd get at least one of my grandfather. He always had season tickets, and so he would give my dad one week, and we'd come down. I can remember Arizona beating Oklahoma. I might have been 6 in a very low-scoring game, but it was back. Arizona Stadium would be packed or near packed every time we went down. It was an incredible atmosphere, So, and I've been back to a couple of U of A games since we've been back. And it kind of walking back into that stadium sort of takes me back, 30 years ago when I was 7, 8 years old and going to games with my dad and my grandfather. So those memories are really special to me, and it's kind of cool to be back in Tucson where those memories occurred.
Are you teaching at the school also? So do you have a master's in administration, or is that something you're thinking about following in that footsteps?
You know, I don't, and I've said for a long time, I want to teach and coach. And, you know, who knows where life takes you, where, you know, I have 3 kids, well, I have 4 kids, one of my stepson's in college, and then my oldest daughter's an 8th grader, so, you know, as they start going to college, who knows, I might need that administrative salary. But right now, you know, I hope to spend, you know, 20 more years teaching and coaching high school football. It's what I love to do. I love having the opportunity to coach young men like the 2 that we have here today. Yeah, so today we have our quarterback, Preston Silvis. He's a University High player. We talked a little bit about him. You know, he's doing an excellent job for us, not only in productivity, but also being a leader for our program. And then we have Damon Taylor, who's a Rincon student. Both of these young men are 4-year players in our program. Damon is, like I said, a perfect example of if you show up every day and work, you can become a good football player. He's really turned into a good linebacker for us. And we are expecting both these guys to contribute tomorrow night and to us having a good competitive game with Cienega.
Okay, thank you, Coach. So we're going to talk to the 2 guys in a little bit. My name is Andy Morales, Javier Morales, and Coach Mike Strack from Rincon-University, and we're at Wings Over Broadway. Thank you.